the issues of real concern at this very pressing time. It's about bringing unions, employers and young people together to share experiences, to discuss new ways and to discuss how we actually take the aims of the Charter and turn it into action.
TUC Student Union are very proud supporters of the TUC Youth Unemployment Campaign. We've been supporting the campaign for the last 6 months. So far we've collected 200 supported signatures. As part of the campaign, my executive and I have been collecting case studies and we now know that students fear they won't find a job in their chosen career path. They feel discriminated against by employers because of their age and lack of experience. They want the return of quality advice and guidance services to support them to make the right decisions.
We cannot have a different rate of pay for apprenticeships, a lower rate of pay for apprenticeships. The minimum wage is the minimum wage, and we want to see apprentices being paid the same minimum wage as everybody else.
I've done everything I can to try and get an apprenticeship there, yet I've had no reply. So that just feels demoralising to actually think they can't be bothered to actually give you a reply on whether you're successful or not.
Governments have to take an initiative in order to get that critical mass of trained people, in order to get those companies who will then in turn in the future be providing the training.
Got a government that is just fallen asleep at the wheel and hasn't actually, where is this growth strategy, where is the industrial strategy that's going to allow us to then create those jobs for the young people and to have those apprenticeships?
I understand that businesses would be cheaper to buy from abroad, but if we keep buying from abroad, then people aren't going to get the jobs what they need. That means people being on job seekers allowance and not being able to really do something satisfying in their life, and I think that's wrong.
Apprenticeships, yeah, we don't do enough. That's what I say straight away. One of the things I asked when I started this new role, this Cabinet Member for Children's Services, was we've got a commitment to having more apprenticeships the Labour Party had in Dudley, and I want to find out how many we did, and we don't do anywhere near enough within the local council. It's in at the moment, we're looking to see how we can expand that.
One of the problems we have, we take the Department for Work and Pensions for example, as an employer. 120 staff out of 120,000 staff were offered apprenticeships last year. The union alone in this area has managed to negotiate 200 apprenticeships. So that really emphasises the importance of union involvement. Workfare is an absolutely shameful government policy which is forcing people to work for free on their benefits. And what I'd like to say on behalf of PCS Union, who represent members in the Department for Work and Pensions and Job Centres, is that we are absolutely, categorically opposed to that.
I think it's really important we're having this discussion here at Dudley College, where 8 out of 10 of the students received the ENA and lost thousands of pounds as a result of what I regard as a criminal act of vandalism when it was abolished. Students from Dudley now face the prospect of high tuition fees, as we've heard. We've got twice the levels of youth unemployment in this area than the national average. Things are much worse, I think, for young people in Dudley than they are in other parts of the country.
I'm just looking at the budget for Dudley, and I've got to say that one of the areas that I'm looking at the moment is its children's services, its youth services, its connections. The people that give the advice to young people in Dudley are the people that are currently under threat because of the funding cut from central government. And so I can't see that you'll have a future if we have to do the cuts that this government wants us to do.
We can all pledge, as I have done, sign the TUC pledge to fight for guaranteed job opportunities for young people.
It is important that we are talking about the policies that the TUC is talking about in relation to job guarantees, and it isn't impossible to do, and it isn't impossible to achieve. But the most important thing that we focus in on is making sure that we raise the standards where we need to, get the skills levels up there where we have to, and make sure at the end of it there's a quality job for all.
I actually became unemployed and was on JSA for 18 months, and let me tell you, it's no fun. The only thing that actually could possibly make that humiliation worth it is a guaranteed job at the end of 6 months.
And when I go to uni, I'll need a job then to support myself, so if I'm not getting a job now, how am I going to get a job then? For loads of people that are in the same situation as me, and it's actually quite stressful.
That's why government job guarantees need to be in place, because it's not just for people who are unemployed, it's people, I think it should be for people who go to university and college, because you go to college, that's 2 years, that 2 years you could work, maybe 3. You go to university, that's 4 to 5 years. you've done that, you've studied for up to 8 years, then you come out of university with a massive debt, and what ends up, you don't end up working at McDonald's for like 4 or 5 years, when there should be jobs ready for people who have an exact profession that they can go into.
That the government is waging war on young people, targeting such a high proportion of the cuts it's making on the young. And I'll tell you, the answer is very, very simple. 80% of pensioners vote. That's why services for older people are not being cut. Right? Less than a quarter of people between the ages of 18 and 25 vote. And that's why young people, I've got to be honest with you, are bearing the brunt of these cuts.
Maybe it's the time that we turn around seriously and say to our 16 and 17 year olds what it is they ain't got a vote, and whether or not now we start to politically engage with those people. Because I don't think that all of a sudden when you reach 18, you sit up like a meerkat and all of a sudden you're politically educated. I honestly think that there needs to be more of an engagement in relation to getting people involved. And I don't just say that to say to 16 and 17 year olds, once you're involved maybe in turnouts or go up at elections. I honestly believe that it should be engagement with those people in order for us, hopefully, to have some more radical politics in this country.
Young people need to have interview techniques, they need to know how to approach different venues to actually do work experience. So if we're just saying, oh, there's all these work experience out there, but it's how do young people actually approach them?
And I put together a work experience programme earlier this year, and it had a few features that I want to talk to you about. First of all, it was very locally designed. Black Country Chamber of Commerce helped me with the aid of my trade union community, Gavin. We put together all of the places that were offered. We had 40 employers that offered 200 places in this booklet. And I've just had the results in from the performance of this programme. 157 young people took up places through the booklet. Of that 157, 45 have found jobs. Not all of them with the employer that gave the work experience. Sometimes it was a different employer after they've done the work experience. But 45 out of 157 is a 29% success rate. That's a greater success rate than the other work experience programmes being run in Wolverhampton by the Job Centre. It's a far greater success rate than the work programme that the results of which were published this week. So not only did me working with local employers and with my own union manage to get a greater success rate, but we also did it reaching young people that aren't normally reached by these kinds of programmes. And I've talked to some of the employers, and they've actually said to me, these are the kinds of CVs that we wouldn't normally have considered. And some of the young people that came through the scheme wouldn't normally have been successful in the normal routes. All these young people, and I'm quoting from one of the employers who took part, all these young people needed was a chance.
There's a task for us to get better speakers in school, to get better commitments out of our employers for work experience and apprenticeships. It's definitely a job that we need to go away with a message from today.
I think there's a call to businesses today to recognise, to sort of step up to the plate. If we can pull together more work experience opportunities, have those stronger, bigger businesses helping the smaller businesses to actually do quality work experience, we should be able to make a bigger, quicker difference.
Work experience, properly organised, spreads the circle of opportunity.
I'd like to highlight an example. The TUC has got a really good policy document on work experience, and there's an excellent example from the Communication Workers Union, which didn't just involve the kind of things we've talked about, but actually involved people on work experience being paid a wage as well.
Yeah, my name's Neil Vernon, I'm from the Construction Union UK. But every time a public contract goes out to one of these construction firms, millions of pounds, that you make sure that they take on apprentices. It's an ageing workforce, the construction industry, with lots of new skills that young people can learn.
So Quentin's just said, why shouldn't apprenticeships be a condition of decent sized public contracts? I completely agree with that.
Not all jobs, we do all go around in hoodies. We are actually doing some positive work, and us just sitting here today is actually really positive, and I think that basically from this we can bring a lot of things forward and other organisations will understand what we're doing, so it's a positive step in the right direction.